If I had to start a construction business in 2026 from scratch, I wouldn't build it the way the industry gurus tell you to build it. Most builders chase revenue, headcount, and scaling. But here's the truth that nobody says out loud. When you scale your business the traditional way, you're signing up for a life that you'll eventually resent. I've spent over 20 years building projects, teams, and systems, and I've watched builder after builder hit 7 figures only to become the most overworked employee on the payroll. So if I had to start over today, I would not build the biggest company. I'd build the most profitable, simple, and enjoyable one. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how I do it using 5 freedom levers. Hey, I'm Brian, and I was a professional remodeler and custom home builder for over 21 years. I helped scale multiple businesses to the high 7 figures, and now as a coach, I help you do the exact same. So let's get into it. The first and most important thing that I would do if I wanted to build a business that didn't rely on me is get out of daily production. Because if I'm on-site running jobs, nobody is running the business. And I lived this reality before. I thought I could just push through and that eventually when jobs finished, things would get easier. But the problem is it never does. So the very first freedom lever is hiring real project managers. But I wouldn't just hire them and hope that they come with the right habits. I'd train them into my systems from day one, and I'd enroll them in my project management program so they're not guessing their way through the jobs. And just so we're clear, a real project manager isn't someone that just checks in on trades. Among many things, they have to master these core fundamentals. They have to ensure that the scope is incredibly clear for our trades when we hire them so that we're very clear on the cost and that additional costs don't pile up downstream. They have to be proactive about communicating additional costs to our clients and issuing change orders instead of avoiding them like the plague. They have to fundamentally understand construction and understand the sequence in which trades are brought on site so that no one's tripping over each other and we're not wasting days on the calendar. And they need to understand how a client is feeling, read the body language, read the signals, and be proactive about communicating to clients so they're never in the dark about what's happening next. This training turns PMs from reactive firefighters into proactive operators. Then I'd reinforce all of this through our WSR, or weekly status review meeting, because this meeting and this rhythm is the secret sauce. The WSR is a weekly meeting with a set agenda that I used for years to get our project managers producing efficiently. Because once I solved that problem, everything else in the business got easier. Jobs move without me, clients don't need handholding, and I finally have the headspace to focus on the parts of the business that only I can do. Freedom lever number 2 is what rounds out the production side and keeps the business from quietly bleeding profit behind the scenes. And for me, this one is non-negotiable. I would run a cost plus model and set up a weekly financial rhythm using BuildWise, because cost plus gives you the cleanest cash flow. It eliminates the guessing game around your margins, and it simplifies the budget, allowance, and pricing conversations with your homeowners while also balancing the risk shared by both parties. But cost plus will only work if your numbers are tight, because in cost plus, every cost is visible to the client. And that means you need a level of financial organization that honestly not many builders actually have, because you have to show your clients where your budget stands every single week. You also have to spot overages early and be able to communicate that in the form of a change order, because those 2 key things keeps your budget aligned and keeps your client aligned to the reality of what they're spending. And if you don't have an easy and consistent way to manage it all, then cost plus moves from being an advantage to a headache. So how you do this is by using BuildWise. Everything's organized in one place. You see costs as they happen, you see trends before they become problems, and you can keep clients aligned before emotions and expectations drift. This is the lever that keeps production stable, profitable, and predictable without me having to babysit. Click the link below to get BuildWise installed in your system today. So with levers 1 and 2 in place, this now finally frees me up to focus on the number 1 business activity that a business owner should be focused on: a predictable marketing engine, which is the heartbeat of any construction business in 2026 and beyond. Because if I'm not creating demand, then the business has nothing to run on. And unfortunately, most builders ignore this until it's far too late, and then they're left scrambling to try to fill their production calendar or lay people off. So here's exactly how I'd build a marketing engine, starting with content. And yes, before I even get started, I know the objections swirling around in your mind. I don't know what to say, and I hate being on camera. But here's the truth. Both are just muscles that you haven't built yet. So if I was starting over, I would hire a videographer from day one. Yes, it's an investment, but it's the absolute fastest way to differentiate yourself in your market and separate yourselves from those that are just competing on price. Because a good videographer will make you look better, sound better, and make you feel more confident. And confident will translate directly into trust. We start with short form content. Simple, digestible, and easy. 30-second clips answering common questions you get in the sales process and getting used to not dying every time you watch the playback. Once that muscle is built, we move into long form video content. just like the video you're watching right now. Because the more someone hears you talk, the more that they understand how you think, how you solve problems, and how you carry yourself. And this is a massive part of the decision-making process of actually hiring a builder. But content isn't just online. Your job site is also content. It's marketing in 3D. Everything you do in public is a reflection of your brand. How you keep your sites, how your team behaves, and how your sites look from the street all matter. So if I was starting over, I'd do 3 things. I'd have a site plan that we would develop in pre-construction that would outline where temporary fencing is going, garbage bins, porta potties, site signage, all of it. Then a daily checklist on the front door that every single team member that works for you is responsible for to make sure that you're always maintaining a professional appearance. This means garbage is always cleaned up and the site is always immaculate. That windscreens, temp fencing, and site signage is maintained daily. And the third part is to create a job site code of conduct. This gets posted on the front door and on every floor inside of the project. Its purpose is to define the rules of what it means to work on one of your projects. All of this creates an instant impression, and homeowners make decisions in seconds. So treat your job site like a showroom and not a construction zone. And before we ever hit the ground running, we'd also hand deliver a neighbor letter to everybody on the street on both sides, introducing ourselves to the neighborhood. Think of this as free marketing, because you're showing the neighborhood exactly how professional you are before you even set foot on site. This step is honestly so critical because you're going to create allies instead of enemies, and trust me, you want allies. Then there's your team, the part no one wants to really talk about. But I'm going to tell you straight, if someone can't represent your brand properly on site, they don't deserve to be on them. It sounds harsh, but people are always watching. Years ago, I had a job where a client texted me at 10:15 in the morning with "working hard." He later told me that the neighbor across the street saw all of us sitting on the front porch having break. Now we were at the end of the job, so we had about 18 to 20 guys on site. The takeaway is that appearance is everything in construction. So perfect yours and take no prisoners. And the last marketing piece is the really unfun part, the marketing tech. And sadly, this is where a lot of builders get really bad advice. Marketing companies try to use generic tactics that work in other industries but don't necessarily work for how homeowners make decisions. They don't really address that psychological gap between "I'm thinking of doing a remodeling project" to "I'm actually hiring a builder." And most of them look at me sideways when I say things like an investment guide or a cost guide is a really good opt-in or free thing that we can give away to people to help nurture them towards being a client. And it's not because the idea is bad, it's because they're not thinking like a homeowner. Now, I'm not going to unpack the entire marketing tech stack here because honestly, that's an entire video in itself. But at a high level, you need a proper CRM, client resource management tool, that's going to basically capture leads and allow you to nurture those leads by sending them resources and various touch points along their client buying journey to eventually turn them into a potential project. But if you want me to do a deep dive on that whole marketing piece, just comment marketing below in the comments and I'll get that video done. So this is freedom lever number 3. And without it, your business will always have feast or famine cycles no matter how great your craftsmanship is. All right, freedom lever number 4 is the client acquisition system, the part that connects your marketing to actual signed work. Because most builders think that leads are the problem, but they're wrong. The real problem is what happens after the lead comes in. And that is why you need a client acquisition installed in your business from day one. People come to you in different ways. Some will download your investment guide, some will populate a contact us form on your website. But not every lead is red hot, and that's exactly why the marketing tech I spoke about a second ago really matters. Because these systems warm up, educate, and nurture prospects until the point when they're ready to actually start talking to you about their project. And without this bridge, you're going to treat every lead the same and lose the ones that simply need more time. For the clients who are actively looking for a builder, the first thing that I would do is remove myself from the "how much will this cost" trap, because that trap is where sales go to die. So I'd force structure into the process right away by having the project discovery workbook be automatically sent to them when they fill out a contact us form. Every prospect fills it out. There are no exceptions here. It tells me who's serious, who's a problem, and who's just looking for free information on a Sunday morning. It also tells me whether their expectations are aligned with reality. Because when a prospect fills it out completely, it shows that they're actually serious about their project and they're likely going to be a good client. I dropped another link in the description where you can download our free project discovery workbook that you can send to your clients when they first get in touch with you. Next, I'd set up our initial meeting and go through how we do business and explain our pre-construction process, because it shifts the conversation towards investing in partnership versus shopping for price. And now you're leading the process instead of reacting to it. I did a whole other video on the 4 stages of estimating, so click click somewhere on this screen and I'll link you to that video. Because with each pass, the estimates get sharper and more defined, and the final construction budget stops becoming a shock and starts becoming a co-created plan that they already believe in. And throughout the entire process, I'm going to layer in different things at different touch points. Things like our client resource guide, which is a multi-page booklet that we leave at someone's house when we actually meet them in person. And then we get to the estimate delivery, the part that most builders will blow. Never email the estimate again. Book a dedicated meeting and set expectations beforehand. I'll address the allowances, the uncertainties, the scope gaps, all of those things before they even ask me the question. And then I'd land the plane to show them exactly what the clear next step looks like. When this system is working, 3 things happen. First, you show up early in the research phase, and you also filter out the bad prospects. You'll warm up the right leads and guide them through a predictable client buying journey. And you'll present estimates the right way and close more jobs. That's the client acquisition system. It's the engine that turns your marketing into opportunity and opportunity into revenue. And freedom lever number 5 is building architect and designer relationships. This one is a compounding lever. They're not your only source of work, but they become your warmest, highest fit opportunities that you can get as a builder. And if I were starting over in 2026, I'd begin planting these seeds immediately. It's not a pitch, and it's not asking them to send me clients. It's about showing up with value. You see, architects and designers want 3 things from a builder. They want clarity, they want predictability, and most importantly, they want someone that's not going to make them look bad in front of their clients. And if you can become that person, you'll become their go-to builder. So start with a full list of architects and designers in your area. Then start the conversation. It could be a compliment about a recent project, it could be something really specific about a detail that you really admired, or a resource that makes their process smoother. There's no ask, no angle, just building goodwill. Invite them to a series of meetings. First it's coffee, then lunch, maybe tour a job site of yours, and ask to see a project of theirs. During these touch points, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to run them through how you go through pre-construction. Because when professional partners like architects and designers see that you have a system, like a real system, they're going to relax and want to do business with you. When you get that opportunity, deliver exactly how you said you would. Because when you do that, you move from being a builder to their builder. Strong marketing brings the opportunities. The client acquisition system converts them, but architect and designer relationships multiply them. It's one of the highest ROI levers in this entire business. Those are the 5 freedom levers that I would use if I was starting over from scratch in 2026. Get production off your shoulders by hiring real PMs. Run cost plus and keep the numbers tight using BuildWise. Build a predictable marketing engine, install a client acquisition system that converts, and then stack architect and designer relationships right on top. If you focus on those 5 things, you're not guessing your way to 7 figures, you're literally engineering it. But most importantly, you're not building a business that you're going to resent in 3 years. One that doesn't rely on you being on site every single day. One that produces profit and peace of mind. Check the links below. You can book a BuildWise demo, you can download our project discovery workbook, and if you want me to make that marketing video, just go ahead and drop marketing in the comments below. And if you know someone looking to make meaningful change in 2026, go ahead and share this video with them. And if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to do that. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.